Hey guys, Dr. Morin here. Today I'm going to be going over some stretches for your low back and your legs. If you have any questions, you can just comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you on that. So stay limber, stay mobile. We'll just get started straight away. So one of the first ones we're going to do is for our psoas muscle, which is the front of your hips, and it attaches from your spine to your legs. So when people are in seated posture, their low backs get really tight. So a great stretch for that is you come down on one knee, you put a foot out here, and you slide your hips forward, and you can hold on your knee for stability. And if you feel like you need to balance yourself, you can hold onto a chair, and you're just going to want to really sink your hips in for about 20 to 30 seconds on this side. Really stretch, don't bounce, and then push back with this leg. Switch legs, bring this leg out here. My left side's my tighter side, so it doesn't go as far. You just really hold that for about 20 seconds, and that'll loosen up your hips, and it's good for your low back. Good. So then straight away, nice way to loosen up your quads is to just kind of sit back. Just sit back on your heels like this. You can lean back a little bit. Or if your back's bothering you, don't lean back, just keep your spine in neutral and just stretch your quads out a little bit like this. So now we're going to stretch the buttocks and the hamstrings a little bit. So I'm going to show you some different stretches for that. So the first one is we're going to come down into a seated position like this. So one leg is straight out, the other one, foot's tucked at the knee. So you're going to lean forward like this. You can hold on to your ankle and pull yourself forward. I did legs yesterday, so I'm kind of tight. All the positions for at least 20 to 30 seconds and no bouncing. So you just kind of come into it and hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. Then you switch legs and just sink right into it. You might feel it in your low back a little bit too, and that's okay. So that's for the hamstrings. Now, I like to do this, butterflies. So you bring your feet in, and this is good for the adductors. Kind of loosen you up a little bit so you can bend forward. You can even shake them out a little bit first. And then you lean forward and you stretch those adductors. So, and then hamstrings again. You're going to bring this leg back. So this is a quad and a hamstring stretch. So you're going to bend forward. So this is for the hamstring. Just hold it for 20 seconds. And then you can lean back and stretch the quad. Then you switch. Hamstring first. And it doesn't matter if you do hamstring or quad first. You can see this leg's a lot tighter. That's why my foot is externally rotating, but you want to keep it neutral. Keep the knee to the ground. Stretch forward. All right, so the next stretch is going to be for the piriformis. So we're going to come on our hands and knees like this. You're going to bring one leg forward like this. And so this is also called pigeon pose in yoga. I like to hold my foot here. So you're trying to get this hip to come down to the ground while this leg is out in front. So you hold this position for at least 20 to 30 seconds. You should feel it in the front of your hip on the left leg and in your buttock, in your TFL, which is down the side of your leg, in the right leg. And you hold that for 20 to 30 seconds. And then you switch. Bring those legs forward. This is a really good stretch. If you notice like your hips are really tight. Good. Now I'm going to show you a couple other variations of that stretch. So if you have a table or you can't get down on the ground like that, you can do it on the edge of your bed, the couch, or if you have a table. So you would put your leg up like this, same position, and then you let your hips come down like this. And no bouncing. All the stretches for 20 to 30 seconds. And then you switch legs. Always make sure you keep your knee at 90 degrees. You don't want to rotate your knee and hurt it. And then eventually, with this stretch, once you get some strength, you can actually contract your glute muscle and strengthen those muscles. So I'm just using my left glute muscle to raise up and down. And then you can stretch deeper. So next stretch is going to be an adductor stretch. So you find something that you can put your foot up on. So I'm going to put my foot up here. And I'm just gonna lean towards that leg, keeping my torso equal to my leg. And hold each side for 20 to 30 seconds. Then a hamstring stretch while you're standing, as you can put your foot straight out in front of you. You're gonna bend this leg a little bit and kind of squat into it. So you're bending forward, but you're not bending too much at the low back. And you really stretch that hamstring. So another great quad stretch is if you're standing, kick your leg up like this, and you try to pull your heel to your buttock. You want to stay straight up and down, and you can pull that leg back a little bit so you get those hip flexors and those quads. So another kind of advanced stretch is you can put your foot up against the wall with your knee on the ground and your leg like this. So you're going to lean forward, and this is going to stretch that hip flexor and that psoas muscle again. You can lean back and really get in there. So it's adding tension to the quad, which will really stretch the hip flexor. But if you're just starting these, I would start with the one that I showed you first, just on one knee. So for thoracic mobility, I have a couple of stretches and exercises on the channel already, but a couple that I like to add. One's called cat camel. So you come down on your hands and knees, so your hips and your elbows or your armpits are at 90 degrees. So all you do is you sink your belly down, and then you lift your thoracic spine up, and you transition your head. Your head's up, and the head's down. You really try to let that belly hang in there, and then really squeeze it up, arch that back like a cat stretching. So you want to do that about 10 times, and really feel that stretch. So the next stretch is for thoracic mobility as well, but this one has a rotational component to it. So you come back into cat camel, and you're gonna drop your chest and your abdomen down, and then you're gonna rotate up and around. Try to keep your elbows straight. So it's like cat camel, but you're also rotating the spine a little bit to create movement in that thoracic spine. And this really helps if you're on a computer all day and you feel like you're slouching over. And then from there, a nice added part to that stretch is to come down like this. I think it's called child's pose. And just come down and stretch it out. And you could hold that for 30 seconds. So this stretch is also for the piriformis. It's kind of a beginner stretch. So what you do is you cross an ankle over your knee. And I like to push down first, and that's going to stretch the adductors a little bit first. And then what you do is you kind of pull your knee towards the opposite shoulder. And this is a really good stretch to start with if you don't have great mobility. And again, 20 to 30 seconds. And you really try to pull this knee to the opposite shoulder. And that'll give you a nice stretch in here. Again, holding for 20 to 30 seconds. So then you switch legs, push down a little bit, mobilize the hip, and then pull up. Really feel that stretch. So stretching is really important because it keeps us mobile. You want to keep your joints moving and keep your body limber. And that's actually one of the reasons like Tom Brady, I mean, I don't watch football, but Tom Brady has been so successful in his career is because he's so pliable and flexible. And that's helped him have longevity in his career where he gets hit by guys my size or even bigger. So stretching is really important. Some of the stretches that you've watched on the channel are helping you to stay limber and loose.